Hey everybody, this is Vlog 23. It is October 7th. No, not October. What am I talking about? It's November 7th. Yes. And I'm sure everybody right now is absolutely just fantastic because they know that there will be no more political ads running on television, on the radio, or on the internet for another period of time till we have to actually care again. Well, that's not really what I meant. You gotta care all the time, but I guess right after an election, there's not a whole lot of empathy going around. You know, there's a lot of apathy. Depending on your candidate, whoever you thought should have won, would depend on your level of apathy at the moment, and also depend on, that would also add to your whether or not you are happy for this country, or you're depressed in some way because the country did not go in the direction you wanted it to. As I've told people before about my political stance, I mean, I don't want to say I'm a moderate because that's not really what I am. There's things on the right that I believe in, yet there's things on the left that I believe in. You know, and I believe in both things strongly enough to where I couldn't vote just like a straight ticket, because I don't believe in everything. I don't have stock in not in everybody's ideas. So there is no perfect candidate out there for me. There's candidates out there that, and the two that we had this election year, I mean, really, I don't know if it's just because I'm a cynical bastard, but ever since I was given the great ability to vote in this country when I turned 18, I exercised my right to vote every time I had a chance, whether it's presidential or if it's in local politics. I always try and pay attention because it really is important. And yeah, a lot of people say, you got a lot of people who think, oh well, if you vote for one candidate and that candidate loses, you think, oh, my vote didn't count. Well, it did count, but it wasn't the tipping point. Nobody's vote is the tipping point. This country's too large, and you can't point fingers at any particular group of people and be like, oh, you're the reason why so and so won, or you're the reason why so and so didn't win was because there wasn't enough turnout from your race or from your sex or from your whatever affiliation. So really, you can't put it on anybody like that. As much as we all would like to blame somebody, or as much as we would like to congratulate somebody, either way. And since neither candidate really had much of a stance that was ever vocalized on the one thing that matters the most to me, which is mental health issues and people being able to get access to mental health care, that's really one of my biggest issues, which 4 years ago was not an issue for me. Or rather, it had just started to be an issue for me. So, that changed the way that I voted. I voted for certain, especially in the local elections, in the state elections, I voted for the people who have the good track records for dealing with, the judges and what have you that dealt with mental illness and would and judged fairly. Um, so, I was up on that, but the presidential election. I mean, mental health, I don't think is ever gonna be a huge issue. At least anything to, I mean, it's obviously nothing that they would talk about normally on, instead of, there's so many more things that this country has to deal with, and this country has opinions about. That mental health is it's something that's put in the background, and that's one of the reasons why there's still such mental illness stigma in the world, not just in the United States. I mean, in the entire world. Yeah, different countries treat people with mental illnesses differently, but I mean, the one that matters to me obviously is the United States, and the United States has a really bad track record of helping people with mental illness. Not only that, but there's this horrible stigma that's there, which is unfortunate, extremely unfortunate, because you have people who think one thing. They think that, it's like, okay, so I was diagnosed apparently schizophrenic 4 years ago, or a little over 4 years ago, and then it's like, okay, all of a sudden, what, now I'm a dangerous person? I'm a danger to others? No, I'm not. No. If you look at the psychological side of it, I mean, really, I'm the last person on the planet that would try and hurt somebody. I mean, I'm terrified to walk out my door. And I mean my door in my room to go downstairs to make some coffee. Okay, so, screw going outside, getting in my car and driving downtown and going to a bar and having a couple of drinks. I mean, I can do that, but I only have so much energy to do that with. And I can only take so much of it. And it deals directly with, and it's just completely imploded in my brain. Well, I think you probably would understand what I'm talking about, or what I was, because I've completely lost it now in terms of what I was talking about. So, okay, we gotta change subject, because it's just what happens when you can't remember. I'll tell you what, it's one hell of an inconvenience. Nothing's worse than talking about something you care about and you feel passionate about, and then all of a sudden, the next, half second later, you don't even remember what you were talking about, and you can't get back on track. I mean, it's not the simple, oh, what was I talking about, guys? And somebody's like, oh, you're talking about this. And you're like, oh yeah, and then you immediately realize what you were talking about. But no. With this, I could ask somebody, what was I talking about? And they'd tell me, and I'd be like, why was I talking about that? What brought that up? So, it's crazy. As you can see, I am wearing a not really a toboggan, but, a hat. I forgot what they're called. I want to say they're called like scullies or something. Something with the word skull in it. And what they are is they're like short toboggans. Because see, this is as low as it goes. And this is just a different color than up here. So it's not like it's flipped. Because if it was flipped, you see, it'd go up like that. See, it's really small. It'd go up, and then you'd see how all my bad actually doesn't look that bad, because it's been smushed all day. But my terrible hair today it was cold and I didn't feel like combing my hair, so I didn't. And then I put on my cap like so. Not only that, but it's like 65 degrees in my room, and that's not a bad thing. I like it cool. I like it to be just a tick nippy, because I can't stand the heat, and I hate summertime, especially where I live in the Sand Hills of North Carolina. I mean, it's like a bloody desert, except for instead of a bunch of sand, well, take it back. Keep the sand. We still have the sand, but imagine that instead of there being like, I don't know what, palm trees where they grow on sand, yeah, palm trees. Instead of palm trees, we got pine trees, long needle pine trees, not the short needle ones, not the ones that look like little fuzz balls. No, we're talking long needle pine trees with needles that are like 6 inches long or longer, and pine straw everywhere. I mean, it's used. I mean, people bale pine straw around here. You know, the only other thing that I know that's baled is hay. But around here, they bale pine straw and then they sell it. And it's one of the. Ever since I was a kid, I was like, "You're kidding me? You're selling that stuff that just falls automatically into my yard, and you're selling that for a profit? Oh my God, that's amazing!" When I was a little kid, I had this idea that I would sell pine straw. You know, kids normally think about how, oh, I'm gonna cut grass and make some money in the neighborhood, or I'm going to be the paper boy, or I'm gonna I don't, nobody's a paper boy anymore. Shit, come on, this can't happen again. I get jobs, right? Taking selling lemonade on the side of the road in your yard. No, what am I doing? I'm baling pine straw. I was like, you know, go down to the old machine shop and be like, hey, you guys got a baler sitting in the back or something I can buy for a couple $100? Bale me some pine straw. But nah. And I've actually seen, I've been other places that don't have pine trees as much as around here, and they sell pine straw, and they sell it for an exorbitant amount of money. It just blows my mind, because I'm like, I'm freaking sweeping that stuff out of my driveway all the time. And people making money off of it. It's ridiculous. But let's see, what else has been going on? Oh yeah, I'm slowly creeping. A couple more days. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 days. 4 days till I turn 30. Now, I'm not really one to care a whole lot about age, but for some reason, the year turning 30 this year, for some reason that I don't know, it's got me kind of apprehensive, because I have so many friends from my college years who, you know, excuse that crazy noise, it's just my alarm telling me to take my meds, which I will do right after this is done. But anyway, back to what was I talking about? The people being older. A lot of my college buddies and friends and anybody really in general that I knew during college, they've already started families, or they're just starting families, or they're just getting married, or they're just having children, or they're having their second child, and it's crazy. Now, it's obviously, it's like, this is not where I saw myself at age 30. But then again, I don't think I ever really thought about it that much. Not only that, but I was never really one to care for having children. I don't necessarily like children. Um, I don't know. Well, I guess it's because they're. I've. And I have a deep belief that it's silly, believe me, that children aren't sentient until they reach a certain age. An infant isn't sentient. It doesn't know that it exists. It can't comprehend that. Therefore, it's not sentient. It doesn't know of its own existence, so that's kind of my definition. And some people they've given me hell in the past about that. But I've been like, I don't know. I guess it's just because it's just another mechanism for me to find that allows me to distance myself from children. I don't know if it's because I myself tend to have a childlike mind when it comes to just goofing off or telling jokes or being immature. I'm not so much anymore as I was during my college years. During my basically majority of my 20s, I acted like this, just this big kid, which is fine, really. I mean, and I'm going into my 30s, and I'm still gonna act like a kid, which is cool. But I just don't like. I don't like young children. I guess that's really the biggest thing. Children that are old enough to talk back to you, not in a mean way or not in a insulting way, but they're able to respond to something you said with feeling and with purpose. Then it's like, okay, well, I take your opinion into consideration, but I'm, like I said, I just don't like kids. Never did. I didn't like kids when I was a kid. I didn't like other kids, so it goes back a long way. But so yeah, a little apprehensive about the 30, just because how different my life could have been if I hadn't been diagnosed with these mental illnesses. But I don't blame the illness. I don't blame myself. If there's any place where I can place blame, it's in environmental conditions. And those are a roll of the dice. So you can't really even blame them, because they're just as much up to chance as anything else is. It's not like flipping a coin that has, two sides. Heads and tails, A and B, black and white. It's different than that. It's roll of the dice. It's like taking two D6s and rolling them. I mean, you have a chance to roll anything from a 2 to rolling a 12. So, and the biggest chance you have to roll in that equation is the number 7. So, or most commonly rolled, at least with 2 D6s. I know that only because I've played Legend of Catan. uh, or not Legend of Catan. Getting Zelda screwed up and everything. Settlers of Catan, which is it's a board game. It's a tabletop game. Really, really fun game. It's real easy to learn, and it's a blast to play because it's strategic, but yet you can easily win without having really much of a strategy at all. I mean, I've seen people win Catan games, you know, just building roads and whatnot in the game. I won't go into the entire game structure. If you look it up, go. It's called Settlers of Catan, 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 and check it out. It's made by Klaus. It's made by Klaus, some German guy. Klaus Tauber, something like that. I mean, you could probably walk into your local hobby shop and or local comic book store and find Settlers of Catan, and it's a great game. You might think it's a little expensive, but it's I mean it's not like a Milton Bradley, you know, it's not Candyland, okay? It's a little bit more advanced, so it's a little bit more expensive than your basic board game, and it's fun. It really is, especially if you play with people with the expansion. I've yet to have a chance to see, or I've yet to have a chance to actually personally play with the expansion, because the main game, it only takes up to 4 people. If you want to play with more than 4 people, you have to buy the expansion, which makes the board larger and adds in 2 more players if you want. So but yeah. So yeah, Settlers of Catan, good game. And speaking of games, gotten back into playing. I'm going through again back there on the television back there, my old Sony Trinitron TV, which has got to be the greatest CRT television ever made. I mean, I can tune into an HD channel, and it's not even hooked up HD on my, because the thing doesn't have HD. The television was made before HD existed, and you can go to a digital or an HD channel, and it's so sharp and crisp. It's amazing because the damn TV is so old, but it's a great television. But anyway, like I was saying, I was getting back into playing the 3rd game in the Metroid Prime trilogy. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. And so that's fun. Been kind of taking a little break from PC gaming because, you know, oh God, since I had gotten Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, between that and Need for Speed Shift, which is a racing simulation, and then Portal 2 and Half-Life 2, and then the subsequent episodes of Half-Life 2. I've been playing a ton of PC games, so it's felt good to get off the PC and play a game on a console again. It's interesting too because the Wii U comes out here in December, Of course, it's completely sold out already, all the pre-orders at least. So even if you try and get there early and try and snag one, you probably won't be able to get one. So I'm not looking to get one at launch. I'll end up buying one probably the same way I bought the original Wii, which was just by randomly running into Walmart and, you know, because I'm looking for batteries, and they'll magically have like one console left. So yeah. Plus, I want to see how it does at launch, and then eventually decide, see if the games that come out for it at launch are worth the at launch price point, or if I should wait for a price drop. But anyway, we've hit 25 minutes, so these things are getting longer and longer. Before you know it, they'll be like 30 minutes long. Do you believe that? That you've sat here and listened to me talk for almost 30 minutes? And that's like a Saturday morning cartoon. And I'm not that very well animated. Nor am I nearly as funny. But anyway, again, I appreciate everyone who watches. Thank you. I do appreciate it. That's what I make these for. I make these so people can watch them and they can see what I do in my daily life and how I cope with the mental illnesses that I have. So whether it's a video that's nearly 30 minutes long of me just rambling about stuff, or if it's a video that's 10 minutes long and I'm talking solid about psychological stuff, you know, mental illness stuff, you know. That's just, you know, that's what this is for. This is to help me, and hopefully help other people. So we've hit 27 minutes, so I don't even want to begin to hit 30 yet. There's an apprehension there. 30 years old, 30-minute long video. That's no. Okay, we're gonna stop now. Anyway, you guys have a good night, or morning, or day, whenever you're watching this. See you later.